Hello, everyone out there. I'm going to wait a couple minutes here, okay? Just going to invite some friends, see if y'all want to come on. Starting a little early there, everyone, okay? Because it's Christine Trainer talking to you live from New Westminster, British Columbia. How's everyone doing today? As I said, I was going to come on at 2 o'clock and talk about something I want to talk about today. And people, come on. I'm going to keep inviting people, see what happens, right? It's just the way it is today because it could be that time of day. I have so many people I'd like to invite, but it's kind of hard to invite people. I'm not sure if they'll come on, but we're just going to just do some random people, see what happens, you know. People could be out, could be busy, you never know. I'm just randomly inviting people to come visit and see what happens. It's an interesting thing for me today, so I'm not sure who else is going to come on. It's just one of those days, you know, I'm just randomly, it's 2 o'clock and I'm trying to do my thing here, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure who all is going to come on. It's kind of that time of day, but I'm just going to keep inviting people, see what happens. You never know. You never know who might want to come on and say hello. I just have to really keep going here. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to see what I can do here and keep going and going and going. So, hey, buddy, say, hey, girl, how you doing? Well, it's one person anyway, so maybe one-on-one. You never know, right? So here's the thing. Again, I must say, my name is Christine Trainer. I'm talking to you live from British Columbia, New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada. How's everyone doing today? I'm going to continue on with this conversation because it's a lot to do with me and who I am in my lifetime, and I see the time and I have to make it quick. And it doesn't matter who comes on. It's just something I want to talk about in my life and how it happened. So it's a conversation I'm saying, and I want to finish it. Hey, Shannon, how you doing, girl? Hey, Werner, how you doing? So here it is. It's all about, here's my information I want to say. This is something that was I've kind of battled all my life, so to speak. And it's about fear, and certain words and phrases that can trigger fear in your life and lead you to failure. That's what I want to talk about. I'm first going to talk about the meaning of fear. And I have some written stuff. I've really, really researched this. I'm just totally into researching, you know. So fear is an emotion caused by an anxiety or the uneasiness of being afraid of something or someone. There's an example here, right? They have an example. It says, a fear is a feeling felt in a haunted house. You know, you get scared, which is the physical fear. And then there's the opposite of fear. Fear creates a strong biological compulsion to avoid the perceived source of the fear, whether it is an object, person, situation, action, etc. Isn't that correct? And then, of course, there's failure, because sometimes that kind of coincides. And the meaning of failure is a lack of success, non-fulfillment, defeat, collapse, unsuccessful person, enterprise, or thing. And there is the meaning of fear. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of how fear was a part of my life and how I learned to turn it around, okay? The first time I actually had really strong fear was when I was a little girl. I had a fear of dogs. I really didn't like dogs because I was afraid of them. I was afraid they were going to bite me, and I was little. I think a lot of children have that. But I had this fear up until I was in my 20s, until I was 21. And I actually did do something without realizing it, because I'm going to give you a quick little example. Lately, I've watched something from Wayne Dyer, a wonderful motivational speaker, and he talked about fear and how we can examine why we're fearful and turn it around. So this basically happened to me when I was 21. I always was afraid of dogs. I was scared to death that they were going to bite me and hurt me, and oh my God. And then I realized I go down the street one day and I saw a dog, and I realized they're just beautiful creatures, you know, with little lovely ears and lovely little animals, and they're there for companionship and love every day of our life. And why be fearful of that? They're wonderful animals. And I stopped being fearful, especially when I had my son Stephen when I was 23, and I would take him out for a walk and let him play with the dogs. I love that. So this is another fear in my life that I chose to turn around. because you can turn around. Because dogs are not there to hurt you. Dogs are there as beautiful animals. They're our friends. They are our companions. They give us love. They give us unconditional love. And that's what's lovely about animals. We have to remember this. I'm more of a cat lover, and the second time I had fear was when I was a little bit older. And actually, it is an ongoing fear on my life. And have you ever understood what words can trigger fear? And they can be can't, but, fail, hard, because. All these little words can trigger fear in your mind, right? Because you react to something and you finally say, oh, especially if you get a new job, right? You go, but what if? What if I make a mistake? And then they might fire me. And then you get that fear inside. I mean, it engulfs you. Fear has a tendency to disable you, freeze you without realizing it in your emotions. I mean, there's so many ways of phrases like, but what if? Or I can't because, or what if I fail? What if something goes wrong? What if I make a mistake? It's scary because never again. I'm tired. I can't do it. You know, all these things, they trigger in your mind. You get so scared that fear disables you. It makes you stop in your tracks. It's like the fear wall, a fear brick wall is there. And you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. What's happening? And all of a sudden it engulfs you and you become an introverted person. And that's what happened to me. Because I think that's what happened to me when I was bullied for so many years. I had a fear of people. And I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to see people. I was afraid of being judged. That was the one thing I had. I had a fear of being judged. That people are going to judge me for who I was and what I am, and this is who I am. And I started to have a problem with a weight, and I started not being able to talk to people. So yes, fear can really trigger that. And that's what happened to me. But here's another example of fear that I'm still actually dealing with, judging every day. I mean, I still have that fear, but I'm overcoming it by doing things in my life. For example, I do lives. I overcome that fear, the comfort zone, because the fear can also be a comfort zone. Say, I'm not doing that. And you stay within the comfort zone of who you are. And you don't want to tackle things. You don't want to go out and do stuff, right? So here's another example of a fear that I actually overcame when I was in the process of, when I was a hiker a few years ago. And way up in the mountains, there's also other hiking trails where I used to be. And I went one summer day for a long hike, okay? And with this enjoyable hike, I went further and further and further. And as I continued with the hike, I found I was lost. I was terribly lost. And I stood in fear, looking around where I was. And I was scared. I was frozen. I went, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And fear set in me. And I stood there sitting on the ground where I found I was lost up in the mountains. And I was afraid that I'd be there too long. And I was afraid I would never get back to where I started. And these little fears kept hitting my head. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. What happens? What happens? I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And all of a sudden, So you know what I did? I questioned the fear. I said, why am I afraid? There's a solution to this. I turned around and I thought, bingo, backtrack. So I turned the fear around. I realized the fear I had. And I went around. I backtracked, finally found my markers, finally found some signs, because I was in a crossroads. And I realized I kept going. And because I was up the mountain for 3 or 4 hours, and when I got lost and not realizing it. But that day I learned something. I learned that even though I made the mistake, even though I froze, even got scared, I realized where my fear was. And the fear was that I was going to get lost, and I was going to die or something. It was like a total crazy fear. And I turned it around. I questioned it. I examined the process, and I overcame my fear. And that's another thing. That's the reason why I stayed up in the mountain. That's the reason why I took a year off to go hiking, because that was a fear. I had a fear of heights. And hey, Jason, how you doing? And I wanted to go hiking. So that was the reason why I went hiking, because I wanted to take that fear of height, turn it around, come out of my comfort zone and tackle that fear. So this is what we should do. This is what I've done in my lifetime. You know, I still have the fear of constantly being judged every day by people, but that's something I'm learning. I'm learning that why do I fear that? You know, this is who I am. Love me or leave me. This is who I am. Or the idea is you are your best and worst enemy. Have you ever heard of that? Hey, Kenneth, how you doing? Because you are. You are your worst enemy. When you have fear set in 24/7, it's a scary feeling, right? Now, I have all this information, you know, all these things that I wrote down all by myself. I wrote down all these things. I wrote down things that we can do to stop the fear from coming in. Things that we can do to break down the fear wall. Because, yes, fear can disable you. This is what I'm saying right now. Fear, you can be paralyzed. Fear is so powerful that it can paralyze you, stop you from achieving the goals you want to achieve because you feel you're going to fail at everything. You're going to fear of making a mistake is something everyone fears in life, right? So what I wanted to say, fear of rejection. And I always did that when I went out for looking for work. So this is something that I'm learning to deal with every day in my life. Fear, getting out of your comfort zone, doing something that you know that you don't normally do, but do it. So I have actually incorporated things for the past few weeks in my life to stop me from having so much fear. And that is positive affirmations. Every day of my life, I say my positive affirmations. I mean, you can go online, everyone. You can go online and you can see everything. Go Google it. You can go YouTube. There's so many beautiful motivational speakers out there. I levitate to Louise Hayes, and I like watching Dr. Wayne Dyer's videos. Tony Robbins. There's so many, and they talk about fear and how you can overcome it, and how there's ways to do it. And I think affirmations every day is a good thing. Positive affirmations in your mind. And I've written a few here that are kind of interesting. The positive words to train your subconscious to stay strong every day, to tackle those fears. Break down your fear wall and get it out of your life. Turn things around. Oops, sorry, I have a bit of a thing here. That's me. And I'm going to say these few words. I am strong. I'm fearless. I'm courageous. I'm adaptable. I am adventurous. I'm compassionate. I'm inventive. I am passionate. I'm resourceful. And I am sincere. Wonderful affirmations you can see in your mind. Go online, find your affirmations, write them all down, put them near where you are, and say these every day. Say them as much as you can to keep your mind positive, and you will break down that fear wall. And we did something that's interesting also, is also our refuse. And here's when I've always said to myself all the time, I refuse to let negative people in the way of my dreams. I refuse to give up on myself. I refuse to let my fear get in the way of how I want to deal with my life every day. So that's what I want to say to you. Also meditation. Meditation is a beautiful thing to do, to calm your mind, to help deal with life situations. Because these days, fear can get in the way with everything. But I tell you now, as somebody who has experienced fear in her life, you don't have to let it destroy you. Don't let fear destroy you. That's what I wanted to say today. And thank you all for coming in, and especially my Palisa and Shannon and Werner and Jason, Kenneth. Thank you all for coming in to saying hello and listening to what I had to say about fear. And I wanted to say this to you because I have had too much fear in my life that stopped me from doing what I want to do. And the last fear I'm going to tell you about is fear of changing my life, going on live and talking to people. I'm doing it. I'm tackling that fear of how to speak to people and the judging fear of how people see me for who I am. Because this is me. Love me or like me, this is who I am. So with that ending, thank you all for coming on and say hello. We'll talk to you soon. As I like to say all the time in my YouTube channel, Kenneth and Jason, if you want to check it out, make today a great day in your everyday journey. Smash down that fear wall. Turn it around. See the resolution ahead. Accomplish what you want to accomplish. Because you all are beautiful people and you can do it. We're all human beings on this earth, divine beings. And we can tackle anything we want in life. As I always say, my one affirmation, I'm a force to be reckoned with. Not you all. Have a lovely day. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Don't let fear get in your way of your life. Tackle it. Bye.